So let's take everything that we talked about this month, put it all together, and make it real, make it easy. Because you're probably thinking, okay, I understand the concepts, but what does this look like in a day? I know for me, when I started making changes, that was the biggest thing that I struggled with was, okay, I understand. I need to eat these foods. I need to do these things. But what does that really look like? Because it didn't sound like what I was already normally doing. And so we don't live in a perfect world, and we aren't given these models of how we should eat ideally either. You're not in school, definitely not in school. I'm not on TV shows and things like that. So what does it look like in real life? So today I'm going to walk you through what this actually looks like and how I think about food on a day-to-day basis, how I plan my meals, things like that, so that I'm supporting my body and not adding more stress because we all live in a world that is already too stressed, right? So before I get into the meals, I want to say you don't have to be perfect. So I have so many clients who come to me and week after week we meet and I'll say what worked, what didn't work, and they didn't start because they haven't been able to do it perfectly yet. Well, guess what? Just one tiny little tweak, one little thing is all you need to do today. Just find one little thing that you can do to make an improvement. And then the next time we'll make another improvement. I know for me, like someone said, you need to eat more nuts and seeds. And I didn't grow up eating nuts and seeds. And, what does that look like? It's very expensive, like $16 a pound or $32 a pound, depending on what you're buying. That sounds insane. Well, what if I just buy pumpkin seeds this week and I add pumpkin seeds to my salad, sprinkle some on a smoothie bowl, put some on a soup, have some with some frozen cherries for dessert this week. And then the next week I buy chia seeds and I make a chia pudding and I make, I don't know, some other kind of dessert with some ground chia seeds, use like a chia egg, that kind of thing. And then I add pumpkin seeds to my salad. So I'm incorporating both seeds. And then the next week I buy walnuts. And so you see where I'm going. And so by the end of a month or 2 months, I have a freezer full of all these different nuts and seeds. And I'm learning how to slowly incorporate them. And so people will look at my freezer and like, wow, I could never afford to stock my freezer like this. Well, I didn't do it all at once, one at a time, one at a time. And so, what I want us to do is focus on stability. We don't want to add stress. I want to focus on nutrition because we need to boost nutrition. Our soils are depleted. We're not eating enough fruits and vegetables. Our food is shipped across the country where nutrients are lost. And then I also want us to be consistent. And so, not skipping meals, not eating really healthy today and then blowing it all tomorrow. I have a client who's going back to eating McDonald's and oh my gosh, why are you doing that? Anyway, I'm sorry if you're listening and I just said that. I need to bleep that out. Anyway, one step at a time, right? We all have setbacks. It's never going to be linear. When we do make a change, we can be right on for a couple of days in a row, and then something frustrates us. We go back for our comfort food. I do the same thing. Now, my comfort food is not as bad as it was when I first started, right? And so when I first started making changes, it was easy for me to slip back into the highly processed foods, right? But now I'm not going to go back to those highly processed foods, but I might make a gluten-free vegan donut, right? And so that the healthiest thing for me to eat? No, but it's much better than what I would have done years ago. And so let's just start to build on consistency and recognize that we're going to have these slip ups. We are going to have the high stress days where we're going to go, you know what? I really am craving this and I'm just going to eat it. I don't care. But the next day, I can go right back to eating the way that supports my body and makes me feel good, right? So just know we're going to have those things. So hydration first. When you wake up in the morning, are you having a glass of water or are you immediately going to a cup of coffee? First, have a glass of water. 32 ounces might be a bit too much for you. Maybe 12 ounces, maybe 8 ounces. 12 ounces would be better, but room temperature water, wake up your body with a glass of water. Hydrate because you just went, hopefully, about 8 hours in a dry fast. You slept all night long without any liquids. You wake up, you need to hydrate your body. So that's the first thing in the morning. Then a light meal. I usually eat breakfast by about 8 o'clock. I like to walk first before I have breakfast. So I hydrate and then I walk and then I have my breakfast. I don't wait until 11 or 12 o'clock. That is not right for my body. When I have my water, I have my thyroid meds. Those of you know I had radioactive iodine. I have to have meds. And so unless I can figure out how to regenerate that thyroid, I'm going to be having those thyroid meds. I'm working on it. So I wake up, I have my thyroid meds and my water. I can't have any food um, within 30 minutes or anything else to drink within 30 minutes. And so I might as well go and walk. So I walk and then I have my breakfast. And so during that time while I'm walking, I usually have an herbal tea. I mix and match my herbal teas because I don't want to become sensitive to any, and I want the nutritional benefits I can get from a lot of different types of greens. They're all dark leafy greens, right? So maybe it's a mint tea, maybe it's a mint and nettle, maybe it's a red raspberry. Anyway, I have a herbal tea in the morning, and then I will go to my breakfast. And my breakfast is usually, those of you who follow me on Instagram, you see it's usually a chia pudding or a blended chia pudding or some sort of smoothie, almost always with cacao. I do like blueberries or cherries. And so it's just something blended. Usually, I always top it with a homemade yogurt. Do you make your own yogurt? That's a really, really fantastic plan. Mine is made with walnuts, hemp, and almonds. And so that I have a healthy balance of omega-3 healthy fats. It's dairy free. But so finding something like that, some fermented way to add fermented foods to your breakfast is important as well. So something that is highly nutritious. I could blend in some greens and have a green smoothie bowl too, but something like that around 8 o'clock. And then I don't eat anything else. I just work on drinking my water until 12 or 1 o'clock, usually around 1. Lunch is always a large salad for me. And so I was in Costa Rica for 3 weeks with my mentor. Um, Dr. Rita Marie. I still work for Dr. Rita Marie in some capacity, and she really changed my life, especially as far as eating. She eats her salad at the end of the day. I eat my salad in the middle of the day, but I like to have lots of different colors. I usually have leftovers from last night's dinner, so I have some cooked veg and some raw veg at my lunch. I have a protein source, usually lentils or beans or seeds if I don't have any beans available. And then healthy fat, which is in the form of my dressing or those seeds that are on top. And so it's huge. It's a very large salad. I used to take it in a brownie pan. That's how big it is when I used to go to work into an office. And so a large salad, because if I only eat a salad, that is very, very low calories. And we need to make sure we're getting about 1,200, 1,500, 1,800, depending on how much activity you're getting throughout the day. So a large salad with some cooked vegetables, a healthy fat, and a protein source. And so this is where most people undereat because their salad is too puny and then they're hungry later, or it's not balanced and then they have a blood sugar crash. And so, really about having lots of different vegetables so you're chewing, but enough cooked veg and enough healthy fat to keep you satiated so that you get full. Sometimes we get tired of eating because we're just chewing too many raw vegetables because we didn't chop it fine enough. And so we get tired of chewing and we think we're full when really we haven't had enough calories. And then dinner for me is usually a cooked food. In the summer times, it might not be, but something a little bit warmer, a little easier on digestion to help me sleep. It could be steamed vegetables. It could be some sort of legumes, almost always. It could be a bowl, things like that. So when we have some of these cooked foods, helps us to feel safe. We have some carbohydrates at night. It helps us with sleep. It helps us with our nervous system. Once again, lots of different colors to also help with antioxidants and help with sleep as well. And so nothing too stimulating, nothing that's going to sit on the belly too long. But I do like to have a little bit of carbohydrates. And so if I'm going to have a potato in the day, I'm going to have it at bedtime. Not at bedtime, at dinner time, which is 3 hours before bedtime. So my blood sugar can go back down before I go to bed. Beans, things like that. Those starches I usually have later in the day to help us sleep because then that helps my body feel safe and more stable. So things I don't do, I definitely don't skip a meal. Those of you who know me, I used to work with some people and they knew, hey, if she's working through her lunch, we need to sneak some food to her because I would get hangry. My body does not do well with skipping meals. Even with my blood sugar balanced, I'm a little bit better. When I was in Costa Rica, I could go a lot longer, even though I was being a lot more active. But depending on how you are, as far as your blood sugar stability is, how your safety of your body, that's something I've been working really, really hard on for the last year and a half, is really focusing on allowing my body to feel safe several times throughout the day. um, that's really important for your blood sugar balancing. So don't skip meals. Let your body know, hey, food's coming. Try to stick to a structure as much as possible. Don't rely on snacks. We want to give our body those breaks between our meals so that the blood sugar can come down, insulin can go away, and our repair mechanisms can be activated. And then don't try to eat as little as possible. We have to have a certain number of calories and a certain amount of minerals, carbohydrates, proteins, amino acids is a better term for that, and healthy fats just to function, just for our energy cycles, just for our liver to work appropriately, to prevent brain fog. If you consistently undereat or keep cutting back too much, that's when you're going to experience brain fog, and it's going to affect many other things in your body. So you want to make sure that you're eating enough, and then try to keep it as simple as possible. Being consistent, doing one thing at a time. So if you've never had a quote unquote healthy breakfast, let's just focus on breakfast. What are some things you can do to have a healthy breakfast every morning? And then let's focus on that. Let's aim for 3 healthy breakfasts next week. At the end of that week, let's aim for 5 healthy breakfasts the next week. And then let's try to get 7 healthy breakfasts the next week. Yay, we've mastered breakfast. Then we move to lunch. How can we have a healthy, filling salad every day? Maybe we're not going to do it every day, but let's try to have at least one. And then the next week, let's try to have it at least 3 times. You see where I'm going with this? And so we just have to do one at a time to slowly increase. Changes don't happen overnight, and let's not make it try to happen overnight. If we try to make a lot of changes right now, we're going to have a setback and it's going to be too hard to get back on track. And so slowly build consistency, focusing on 3 healthy meals a day without snacking, focusing on a balance and not having to be perfect all the time, focusing on diversity. So I bought these greens and this vegetable this week. What's a different vegetable I can buy next week? What's a different green that I also enjoy that I could include this week? And then focusing on being consistent. Being consistent is so important. All of those things will support a healthy blood sugar, will support our gut health, and will support balancing the immune system, which is what's so important for getting inflammation under control and getting antibodies under control as well. So if you're trying to start, don't try to make changes all at once. Focus on 1 meal a day, and then 2, and then increasing consistency. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need a perfect plan, and you don't need to follow exactly what I do, because guess what? We are not the same person. We have different needs. So do what works for you. Find a way to work around those busy days, crazy schedules, the days. Like for me, when I plan my meals, yes, I do try to plan my meals. I think, okay, I'm teaching late this night and this night. I'm going to need a grab and go dinner. I'm not going to have time to cook. And so don't think that you have to spend hours in the kitchen every day. Look for different shortcuts. Find ways that you can make like different dips and things like that. If you need support with things like this is something that I do inside my membership group, the Culinary Healing Circle. You can check it out at culinaryhealingcircle.com. I hope to see you in there. Thank you for joining me this week. If you enjoyed this series, please let me know. Comment below, like and subscribe to my channel. Share it with someone that you know is struggling with autoimmune and flares and doesn't know what to eat. Let's learn how to eat healthy foods that support the body and help us to reverse our immune condition together. So until next time, I'll see you next week.